Hi everybody, g'day. My name is Jenelle Kent from Pieces to Treasure. Today I'm going to talk to you about Moda toweling fabric. So the question I most often asked is, what is toweling and how do we use it? So hopefully I'm going to address that question in this little video today. So come along for the ride. Now the first most confusing thing is with toweling is people get it confused with terry toweling. Or if you're in the US, they call it terry cloth. Now that is this fabric here. It's that loopy, thick, cotton piled fabric that your bath towel is made out of, or your lovely, fluffy bathrobe. That is not what we're talking about today. So we don't want this. Let's get rid of it. We're going to talk about Moda toweling. So what is Moda toweling? Well, it's a 100% cotton fabric, just like your regular patchwork cottons that you're used to sewing up your quilts with and your projects and table runners and things like that, but it's a little bit of a thicker weave. Now, it's always a woven stripe fabric. So let me show you a little example. Here's a roll here. Now, when I say woven stripes, that means the colour of the yarn making the stripes is actually coloured before it's put into the fabric. It's not printed on later. So if you look at this one and I reverse it, it's pretty much just as good on the back side. So that's because the stripes are woven. There are red threads running this way. Like I said before, it's not just printed on. Now, how is it different from your regular patchwork cottons? Well, first of all, it comes in different widths. So the reason it's been traditionally called toweling is because it comes in a width like this. This one here is 16 inches, and if you look really closely, the edges are hemmed. Check that out. A little bit less sewing in your project. The long edges are hemmed and it comes on a roll. There it is like that. So you guessed it, mostly used for tea towels or dish towels, I've heard some people call them. But you can use it for lots of other things as well. And we're going to get into that in another video. You can probably see some of the projects behind me. They're just a little teaser, sneak peek of what's to come. So this is our first one. This is a standard width toweling and it's 16 inches wide. Now, I also designed this fabric for Moda, and this is one of my designs, and it's from the Picnic Point range. Lovely red and white stripe, makes fabulous Christmas stockings, Christmas runners, serviettes, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So that's your standard width, 16 inches. Here's another one. Check out the different stripe pattern in that. Once again, because it's a woven stripe, back pretty much just as good as the front. So that's great when you're going to use it. Once again, this one hemmed on the edges. So you can see how the name toweling came about. People thought, makes good tea towels. I can cut them whatever length I like, hem the edges, bingo, got yourself a tea towel. Now, this one is a heavier weight fabric than the previous one I showed you. This one's a little bit lighter. So there are different texture and a different fabric weight to your regular patchwork cottons. Now, those two were 16 inches wide that I showed you. But in my next range of toweling fabric that I designed, I made them a little bit wider. So this one here is from my range called Rockpool. It's 18 inches wide. Edges are hemmed. Cool, hey? See the difference in width? The top one is 2 inches narrower than the bottom one. So why did I make these ones a little bit wider? Well, like I said earlier, I like to make lots of different things from toweling. Cushions, bags, all that sort of stuff. So you can get a bigger cushion out of the slightly bigger width. But since we're talking about the size of toweling, let me show you the big guy. How about that? On a bolt. Now this is double folded and then bolted. And this one is 60 inches wide. That's 1.5 meters in metric. Check it out. Beautiful woven stripes. Also from my Rockpool range. There it is in another colourway. So why or how do they end up 60 inches wide and some end up 18 or 16? Well, when they make the toweling fabric and they weave it and they weave the stripes, they mill it to be 60 inches wide. Now, traditionally, it was then cut up into 16-inch wide lengths and hemmed, sold on the roll, like these babies here. There's another stripe pattern. Nice French look. Until I put a spanner in the works and said, why don't we do a couple 60 inches wide, because wouldn't they make fantastic tablecloths? Now, this one here is one of the 60-inch wide ones, and I've made tassels on the end, a nice bit of fringing. Now, these make fabulous Turkish towels. So if you want a lightweight towel for camping or just a lovely summer pool towel, these are perfect. Make a wonderful wrap. I'm currently using this as a throw in my living room. Hangs over the end of the lounge. Now, most of the time it ends up being like a cat tunnel. My son likes to drape it over a cardboard box and the cat likes to hide in underneath. So there's another use we hadn't thought of. So this one is a 60-inch wide toweling, and then I've just fringed the ends. Now, I've done a little tutorial about that. It's on my blog. So if you go to my website, piecestotreasure.com, and you look for the heading up the top that says blog, there's a few little treats and tricks up there for you about toweling, and how to fringe it is one of them. So that's quite a lot of fun, and kids can learn to do that too. You don't even have to be able to sew. So, as I've said before, it comes in lots of different uses. So can we mix it with our regular patchwork cottons? That's another question that I'm frequently asked. Now, if you look quickly at the quilt behind me, there's sashing in here that's made with regular patchwork cotton, and the blocks I've made out of the toweling. So does it wash up well if you're going to put it into a quilt? Well, here's one I prepared earlier. I did a little sample test. So I was making a whole lot of projects for Quilt Market, and I had some leftover squares and thought, right, everybody's going to ask me, does it wash nicely? How do I wash it? Does the colour run? So I pieced up some squares, fronts and backs. Deliberately chose these very inky navies and the very strong red. Threw it in the washing machine. I pieced it up like a raggy quilt, had wadding in the squares like that, threw it in the washing machine to see how it would fringe. Came up a treat, and the colour didn't run. So you can see there, no colour run. Did it wash well? Absolutely. Have I washed the quilt behind me? Multiple times. That quilt there has been on a tour of America, going around and hanging in shops, getting a bit dirty, as you can imagine, because everybody likes to touch and feel toweling because it's so soft and gorgeous. And it's been through the washing machine on numerous occasions, and it also lives in my house in a basket. So you can see it washes up well. It shrinks a little bit, just like your patchwork cottons. And there's also a further video on my blog about how to wash it. So I'm hoping that answers a few questions about Moda toweling and what it is. I want you to think about it like it's another fabric in your stash, another tool in the toolbox, if you like. And I'm going to show you different ways that you can use it. So get on board the toweling train, and I'll see you soon in another video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.